In this episode of GLF Podcast, I interview one of the happiest attorneys I've ever met. Robert Simon built a remarkable law firm while building three other businesses, while starting a family and now having a wife and three beautiful children, while employing most of his immediate family members, including his co-founder, law firm co-founder, twin brother, three other siblings, both of his parents, and uncles and others in the family. And he is doing all of this with a smile and so much happiness, and his success keeps on touching so many other people. Into this episode to listen to the story how he did it and what he would do if he had to start all over again. Hi there. I have a small but really meaningful favor to ask you. I watch at the stats on our YouTube channel and Spotify channel, wherever most people listen and watch our podcast. And I see that over 80% of everybody who listens to it regularly is not a subscriber. I'm asking you to subscribe to this channel. And the reason for that is my mission and the mission of my team is to help as many small law firm owners to learn how to transform their law firms into better businesses, and so they in turn enjoy better lives. When you hit subscribe button, you tell these platforms that this is content worth listening, worth viewing, and they in turn will show it to many other small law firm owners and hopefully help me fulfill our mission of helping them create a better business and enjoy better lives. So would you please do me this favor? It would mean the world to me, and hit the subscribe button. And my promise to you is that I will continue to work hard at creating good content with practical ideas that help you and your teams grow better law firms. Thank you. Welcome to another amazing episode of GLF Podcast. I have an amazing guest with me here today, Robert Simon of the Simon Law Group, aka the Justice Team. Co-founder of that law firm with his best friend, who happens to be his roommate, who happens to be his twin brother. Started the firm in 2009, grew it to close to 30 attorneys now. Specialize in PI and more recently in the fire damage that was obviously on all of our minds recently in the LA area. You built this business over 15 years to be quite sizable. 30 or so attorneys, $600+ million in verdicts. This is just one of the businesses that you've built. I am certain that other people who watch this podcast, who listen to this podcast, who read the show notes, they want to know how you did it, how you went from zero to hero. Because to most, getting to the level where you are today is an aspiration, is a dream come true. And here they are listening to someone who's very real, still very young. You're not John Morgan, who is well into his 70s, if not 80s, right? So you've built it all in a relatively short span of time. Sure, how you did it?
Hard work.
All right.
I mean, it's calculated. A lot of time management, calculated risk, hard work. I'm very driven on specific goals that I need to attain, and I set myself very lofty goals. Like, people would say crazy to never be able to hit those, and then find a way to make sure that you succeed. And if you fail, who gives a crap? Like, honestly, I love that phrase. It's like the perfection or something like this. Perfection stalls the ability to actually grow, something like that. People try to be too perfect, and lean on other people for stuff you don't know. Listen, try to train and delegate. I mean, if you can get to that place where you're just moving chess pieces and having people do actionable deliverables. And there's a lot of technology now that can help you with that stuff. And I'm happy to cover it all, man. But I like to do stuff that I'm passionate about and stay in that lane, and then it kind of grows from there.
Let's start at the beginning. 2009, you and your twin brother start the law firm. Mm-hmm. You're starting at zero.
At zero. Well, I mean, so I was already practicing. Started November 2005 in California. Worked for a boutique personal injury firm where I was able to learn how to manage cases, bring in cases, and try cases. And it just, I took, I think, a $55,000 a year salary in 2005, but they gave me a third of what I brought in. So it teach me to hustle. I was clerking there during law school. So during law school, I was out on the pavement, building relationships, because I didn't grow up in California. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I didn't have a family there or like connections. So I just built them. I was out every day talking to folks, giving them my cell. I've had the same cell number since back then. And, I did a lot of text messaging back then, or BlackBerry Messenger, whatever you want to call, to keep that up. So I just built this grassroots referral network to start. And I brought in so many cases, had so much success that when I left the firm, I was making well into the six figures, I think my third or fourth year. And my firm was shocked that I left. I was like, well, I mean, I want to work for myself. I want to bring in my brother. I have a big plan, big goals. So let's just run with it. So that was 2009. And then things just went off like a rocket ship after that. Good fortune of getting some good trial results, having some great mentors, and I could talk to you how I built all that stuff. And it's been a fun ride, man. So now we're in our 15th or 16th year as a law firm with the tech companies. I mean, I think we're 5 or 6 years in. So that's been fun growing a separate company, even though it's legal adjacent technology company. So it's all good.
So at the beginning, when you were doing grassroots marketing, when you were building that referral network, because you just moved from Pittsburgh to California,
Yeah.
3,000 miles away, no network, no family, nothing. How did you hustle? How did you go about building
Look,
that network?
be be genuine, listen, figure out what people need, how you can help them. Come to how you can help them first rather than you asking for a favor or, hey, can you do this for me? And I live by that. I tell all of our people, our lawyers, our trial lawyers, our salespeople, our technologists, is you go out and do customer service and ask, how can I serve you better? What do you need? Don't sell them on a product. So I was out there at, people that could give me large buckets of cases that I could work on. These are other lawyers that don't do personal injury. These are chiropractors, orthopedic surgeons, people that have large buckets of folks like insurance brokers. The first person they call when they get in a crash is their broker. Just make friends with these people. Have them stay in your Rolodex. Text them. See how they're doing. Genuinely care about them. That was 2005 to forever. I mean, I still do that stuff. A lot easier now with social media. You can literally just slide into DMs. There's text messaging platforms where you can do it a lot more scale. I play with some artificial intelligence to try to do that for me, to do like marketing upkeep, right, with your contacts to be able to stay top of mind. But it's got to be intentional, man, and it's got to be genuine, and you got to genuinely care about the people that you're connecting with.
Something that you just said that seemed to be at odds with each other, and that is you said that you try to be genuine, but you're also using AI to stay in touch with people. Explain how that works.
So I believe in artificial intelligence based off of a specific data set. So when I built my own artificial intelligence, it's based off of me. All of my book I wrote on trying spine injury cases, all my trial transcripts, deposition transcripts, pulling from my emails, pulling from my social media, all the podcasts and shows that I've done, I get it transcribed into an OCR, fed into my data set. So my artificial intelligence is me and trained on me. So it is genuine. So I even have ways that it can talk like me. It has my voice. Um, there's some fail safes with it, but I think that's the best way to explain. I'm not using like that. There's ones that you could use with an open AI, and it's pretty generic when they respond back to you. You can tell. I just don't like that stuff. So that's how I trained my artificial intelligence. And I'd love to be doing a podcast like this using AI, and I think I'm pretty close. So we'll see.
Um, but would it really be still genuine? I know it would sound like your voice, it would look like you, but it wouldn't be you. It would be trained by you, not directly trained by you. You would be talking, you would be recording content, and then that AI would learn from you and then represent you, but it still wouldn't be you. It would be a
Would not be
machine.
me, but you can. I go back and edit and save memories. So if it gets it wrong, I can reteach it manually. That's kind of what I do. So no, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, but there's no way, like I get offered to speak 10 different things a week or to travel to go to these conferences. There's no way I could be every place at once. Like I have to find a way to say no to a lot of these opportunities because it just can't possibly be done. But would people be okay with having a portal, a hologram where I could step in from my house and be live in Boston or live in Philadelphia? That would be me. I wouldn't physically be there. Um, we shall see. I mean, we've done that once at one of our conferences, and it was pretty cool to beam people in. So, but it is
Yeah,
weird. It's like the Star Wars thing when they have like the
that's
galactic.
exactly what I was thinking about.
They all have their own holograms, right? They're all
Yeah,
talking, but
yeah,
they're not. They're all different parts of the galaxy. So,
yeah,
I got used to it. That was a long, long time ago. The galaxy far, far away.
yeah. So I think it's definitely coming to a conference near you, and a lot of, well, I mean, we have Zoom, we have this, right? So how is that very different from holograms?
It's just not as. I mean, you do need that human interaction, personal contact for a lot of things. which I'm still a huge fan of, but it still works. I mean, you got to do the best you can. You can't be everywhere at once.
Sure. But looking at everything that you do, it does appear that today you're everywhere at once.
Correct.
You are very serious about the things that you do. One of the things that is very uncharacteristic to most law firm owners is that you're a very serious marketer,
Hmm.
and your marketing runs into numerous directions at the same time. Can you explain your marketing machine? I mean, it is a network of things.
Yeah, yeah. So I believe in like community marketing that's very dialed in and very specific. I don't do billboards. I don't do invest a lot into SEO or that shotgun approach stuff. I never did. Even when I was on the streets, it's very calculated. I'll go into chiropractors, they have injured victims. All the things that I do from the technology companies at Justice HQ and Attorney Share for my media companies, Justice Team Network, my show Bourbon Approved to my law firm, I'm targeting the same general audience. Very specific lawyers, legal vendors that help lawyers, technologists, right? Same buckets for every single one of those things that I do. So when I create these marketing ops, they're all cross marketing opportunities, but I'm using the same spend. So I do a lot of spends on just digital, pretty much almost all social media stuff that's very, very focused. So I can target conferences, I can target law schools, right? I can target lawyers as a group, I can target PI lawyers as a group, right? You can get that granular. So I just make content that's geared towards them because that's what I love to do. And those are the folks that I love to help. But it's all very, very calculated. I don't think I would do well in like a consumer product company because it's so shotgun, right? You have so many different audiences, so many different test groups you have to run. I feel like I know lawyers really well. I feel like I know law firm owners really well because I am one. So it's easy for me to speak directly to them and give them the content that they want. You just got to put it directly in front of them.
And although you are multi-channel, would you say that social media is where most of it goes to?
I would agree 100%. I mean, I can look at through our CRM, I can see where all of our cases and contacts are coming from, and most is coming from social media or past referral sources or those type of relationships. It's not those cold calls. It's not Google. You know,
Again, somewhat atypical. Would you say that most that you get off of social media is it direct? You're putting message out to the consumer, or is it
most I'm
referral partners?
most I'm not doing direct to consumer. I have done a lot more lately just because I'm passionate about politics, helping fire victims. We do a lot of sex trafficking cases. Like I like to educate and talk a lot about those things. Like we're sitting here, it's February 18th. I just did a post because there's a couple insurance companies that were pulling coverage from fire victims and it was improper. What they were doing is they were saying, hey, you have mold on your roof. We got to pull your coverage unless you fix all these things. It was too much for people to be able to repair their roofs. The problem was it didn't exist. They were using the same stock image from a satellite for every single person, just denying coverage because they knew they were in a high risk fire area, right? And they're going to get punished for that. So I think that was important for everybody to know. But look, it's two-way faceted. If a person was affected wants to hire me, great. But also a bunch of lawyers that are my audience are seeing it now, following me, sharing my content, and now maybe they'll want to refer a case to my firm, be a member of Justice HQ, or use Attorney Share the marketplace, or enjoy our media. And there you have it. But it's very calculated. I think people get too caught up in trying to do all these different things. Just try to do one thing really, really well.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. So it sounds like your major marketing push is one to one, one to many. So you talk to people who are the influencers who can help bring in number of cases rather than one case here and one case there.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Can I pause for 1 second? I don't have
absolutely.
a school that's calling.
We'll cut
Hello?
this out.
Yeah. Hello? 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 You, I can hear static. Hello? 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 No, it was not. It was someone trying to sell me something, so I had to pretend that I was on a couldn't hear this person. Damn it.
So we just took a quick pause because Bob thought that he was getting a call from school. In addition to everything that you do, you're also a husband and a father of three, if I'm not mistaken.
Three little girls, 7, 4, and 2. Quickly will be 8, 5, and 3. But yeah, fun times.
You are a very busy guy running multiple businesses. running a family. And speaking of family, you're very serious about helping people around you succeed. So if I'm not mistaken, most of your family members, immediate and non-immediate family members, actually work in your businesses. Is that correct?
Yep, my both my brothers, sisters, one of their spouses, my dad, my mom, my dad's new wife, one of my dad's wife's children. There's a whole list that I'm probably missing. But no, look, it's like, why not do everything together? It was always our dream as kids. There's like five of us growing up in Pittsburgh. We always thought it'd be really cool just to work together and do things together and do these just fun, out of the box things that nobody would ever dare to do. And my dad always said, "What's the worst thing that could happen? You fail, so what? Like, who cares?" But no, I think family is very, very important. It's been very like every day for me and every week, month is very calculated and specific. So one thing I do have is I have a virtual assistant who's my executive assistant, right? And she's in another country. And she has very dialed in what my calendar is that day, next week, next month, what's on the travel calendar, what I can and cannot do. And I have blocked off times. Like she knows, even though I can correspond with her from like the time I get up at 5:30 a.m. until I get the kids out the door in school till about 8:30 a.m. I can go back and message her, but I can't take calls. I can't take meetings because I want to be there to get my kids off to school, unless I'm traveling for a conference or something else. My meetings don't start till 9:15 a.m. Like hard meetings were one-on-one or one-to-many because I want to be able to get my kids to school, maybe get a quick workout on, shower, be ready to go. And I try from about 2:30 to 3:15 to keep that window open because I want to be able to pick my kids up from school, spend a little time with them before I carry out the last hour or two of my workday. Then after 5, generally I'm just with the kids. I can correspond, I can take big messages, but I do not set meetings. When I do conferences, I'm never there on the weekend. Very, very rarely. I'd say I'll come in on one night. Sometimes I do one there and back. I've literally flown to Zurich once and back the same day because I didn't want to spend too much time there. Right. I just don't get lost what's important to you. And it's like Saturday, Sunday was for my kids. Like they're in that special time where some are playing sports, they're in ballet, they're in all these different activities, and I want to be there for them. So, but it's very calculated, man. But you got to live by that principle and realize that when an opportunity is special, when you need to do it, when it doesn't really matter so much. So why are you doing it? Define your why and stick to it. If it doesn't, every company has a mission statement, and if you start to get lost, go back and look at your why and make sure it's in the right direction.
How many businesses do you actively run?
Four probably. So it's like I'm the chairman of both, founder and chairman of Attorney Share and Justice HQ, but I'm very heavily involved every day in the day to day. We do have like C-suite positions for those, but I like to be involved with everything. Law firm, yes. The media company, yes. We have a video game company that's not law related at all, so that's more of a fun project that I'm just in the marketing sidelines for now. I think that's it. Real estate don't really count. I mean, that's just pretty passive. So,
So, are you like in your mid 40s maybe?
yep, exactly. Just turned 45.
Happy belated birthday. So you're 45.
Hmm.
You own four businesses that you actively manage.
Yes.
You have a wife and three children. Many of your family members work with you. I think this is just, and it sounds to me that you probably work fewer hours than a typical attorney working in a small law firm.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, actively work.
actively, yes, but it's like I'm always corresponding. Like
I
I'm
get that.
always chess pieces, but like I mean, I pride myself on being very responsive, especially to text messages or DMs. Emails are sometimes a little harder, but I try to go through everything at the end of the day and get back to folks. I always treat people like, what would you want from your lawyer? What would you want from your, technology partner? What would you want from your spouse? Right? You want responsiveness. You want somebody to pay attention to you. So I try to pride myself on those things, and that's why I'm on like if I pulled up my browser right now, you would see I'd have WhatsApp open, I would have Slack open, I would have Teams open, I would have my Apple SMS open. So all these different channels that I'm actively corresponding and checking all day. My Instagram DMs, my Facebook DMs. I only check probably TikTok like once a month, but LinkedIn every day. Just actively looking through everything.
Got it.
Um,
So
yeah.
you're a communicator and a decision maker, and I think what I'm trying to portray here is that you're making a brilliant case for why an attorney who can be a talented marketer, because I think truly that's what you are deep down. You're a great marketer,
Great
excellent
marketer,
communicator.
great communicator, great salesman. And I'm a
Yeah.
trial lawyer, man. Like when I've hit these big verdicts, it's like because I can sell my product, which is my case, to a jury through communication. And then once I realized that even when I was hitting, 8-figure verdicts, I was probably still losing money at the firm because I was the one for business development, bringing in all these things, right? So that's when I made the active decision to start training other lawyers to replicate exactly what I do. And we've had some fantastic, and I pride myself on a coaching tree of lawyers go through our firm, start their own firms, be super successful because we taught them trial work with my methods, like right out of law school. Here's your opportunity. Try a case with me. Try one with another partner. Off you go. You're ready to do this. And as part of the book that I wrote for trial guides and in trying disc injury cases is teaching that method, right? Because the more we're all doing this, I think it's better for everybody. Because when I'm helping one client, it's one client in the courtroom. But to all these other things that I'm doing, I mean, I would like to help 100,000 people a day. I know that sounds freaking insane, but that's like one of my life goals to be able to do.
Before we hit the record button, you mentioned that you set goals that are insane,
Insane.
that are so big, it's unfathomable how you'd accomplish them. But here you are, 45, beautiful family, 4 businesses that you actually manage. It sounds like you have a real estate portfolio, which is more of a passive thing, but wildly more successful than most 45-year-olds, most 55-year-olds, 65-year-olds, most people. So you've done bigger things. You've played a bigger game than so many others. You've been able to achieve the things that for most people would be like, I don't even think in those dimensions. And I
Yeah,
think
but be
that you've all,
curious and learn. Like I never understood when people wanted to stay in their own little box. Like I like to go be in diverse rooms where I'm the only lawyer. I'm the only one that's in this vertical, and just to hear how they do things. It's like, oh, I never thought about doing it that way, or treating my business as a retail corporation and looking at things with KPIs and things. Like, oh, that's interesting, right? And then just learn how to do it that way. But don't stay in, like I tell these lawyers all the time, don't stay in your local bar org. Get out there with other practice areas, get to other states, other cities. They'll be your best referral partners, the best people to learn and how to grow together. And my big vision with Justice HQ, that's like my biggest baby, is I want to have this conglomerate affiliation of lawyers and law firms across the nation, all under one umbrella, that can do whatever they want to do. I don't care if you're a first year lawyer, a 4-year lawyer, you want to start your own podcast, you want to start your own mastermind, you want to have your own events, you can have it all there. Everything on demand. From office space that you need at any time. Anybody can list their space. It's just shared resources, like something you've never seen before. Because I think in the new era of being a lawyer, we have to be specialized in what we do, know who we want to represent, and be very easy and nimble to keep our costs low and keep our quality of life high.
what's the structure of Justice HQ? Is it one company where attorneys become part of that company?
Yeah, Just HQ is attorneys and vendors also can pay a monthly membership. In exchange, they get access to our portal, which has all the listed office space on there where they can reserve it through there. They have an on-demand video education where people can upload and listen to every single content you want. Think of like TV Guide for lawyers, right? And then or not TV Guide, that's like YouTube for lawyers. And I always think like in those verticals. So the real estate piece is like Airbnb, where we're the platform,
Got it.
lawyers can reserve the lawyers. Um, YouTube is like the channel for all lawyers, which they can create their own adventure, have their own content. There's all industry specific stuff. And then the events page is like the TV Guide, where you can list every single, from happy hours to conferences, see who's going, see who's sponsoring, raise your hand. And then we have like small groups where people can run their own masterminds, which I was like, we do all those things for $500 a month. People get every single one of those things and then more. Like we have Slack channels, all this other stuff. because I've seen one person charging like that amount for one of these verticals or more. I've seen masterminds people charge 20,000 a month. I'm like, dude, we give that stuff away for free, right? Like, this is why we're here. So that's my big vision with that, is to have this true access to justice, because you have lawyers that are so connected with low overhead, that have a high quality life, that love who they represent, and it's easily teed up for them. That's why we created the marketplace attorney share, so that you could easily send those cases to the specialist, track those referrals or co-counseling, and I mean, everybody wins that way. So
But membership does not entail employment,
no, everybody has
it,
their own companies.
own
Nope.
companies.
Yep.
Like you're not trying to build a conglomerate.
Absolutely not. This is like the antithesis of a conglomerate. This is having everybody own everything in their own way, and they can do whatever that they want to do. We give you all the tools. That's what the big vision is. I don't like consolidations. I don't like large conglomerates. I think everybody should have an ownership stake in what they do, and that's why we created it.
Interesting. So you look into the future quite a lot.
Yep.
Just our 2 minute exchange about AI and what it is that you're trying to build shows that you're very advanced in that direction. How do you envision the future of law? You're very anti-consolidation, as you just admitted, but I think that consolidation is probably coming
Yeah.
as alternative business structures are becoming a thing, and probably slowly, and it may take 20 years, but it will be adopted across probably most states, if not all states. And private equity will probably roll into this business because, as you know, if you optimize a law firm, it can be an incredibly profitable entity. So how do you envision it?
I think all those things you said are to be true, and I think faster timeline than what you say. Because having a law firm and also having these other companies, I see all the ABSs that can see how easy it is to have their data specific things go to the best lawyers for that case and get a referral fee or co-counseling fee. So why not do it? So that's one of the reasons I created the portal, so that the lawyers that I think will win with the highest quality of life are those that will still own the small and mid-sized firms, that will own their own thing, but be very easy to find, very good at what they do. And that's, I mean, I kind of created this as like the union, for lack of a better term, for lawyers, so that they were so insulated from all of these things and still had a big collective voice, that they could still win. But my fear is that private equity will come in and treat it like private equity does everything else, which is just treat everything as with profit. And that's why you could have safeguards. I'm very, very active in our local and state lobbying groups to create law in the different states which I practice, so that we can have protections against these things as as lawyers. I do think that there is a place for private equity in our space. I just think it has to have safeguards and limitations to it, because they do bring some value, right? They do bring the value to bring into law firms to show you to operate like a business, to maximize systems, etc. But they shouldn't be calling the shots. They shouldn't be the ones that are mandating that you treat people like widgets. So I think there is a place for it, and I hope that's where it goes. We shall
Yeah.
see.
So UK kind of paved the way.
Yep.
There are private equity owned law firms, and then there are still privately owned law firms. And I think the jury is still out on
Yeah.
which way it's going to go long term. But I
But
agree
I
with
think
you. I said, go ahead.
yeah, you see less talented people though in the UK
100%.
being lawyers because of that,
Yeah.
for that reason.
Yeah.
The best lawyers that I know are lawyers that they didn't go to prestigious law schools, most of them, right? They know how to be really good at their craft and what they do, and they get paid a lot for it. Why else would you? I mean, if you're not getting paid a lot of money for this competitive space, like why would you be in it? So people that were probably could be the best lawyer or barrister, right, in the UK, they're doing something else because it just they couldn't sustain a quality of life because of the private equity interest coming in. And that's what I hope does not happen here. And that's why we're doing all of these things to kind of protect against that. But I do see some really good law firms that are not private equity backed, that are acquiring other law firms, and I believe doing things the right way.
Hmm. So maybe there will be three structures: larger law firms that acquired others through consolidation. They just expanded, expanded, expanded. There will still be some private practitioners, smaller law firms. And
Mhm.
then there will probably be some PE-backed law firms that are going to operate truly as businesses.
Yep. And my fear with that is how is that going to work if like these in the private equity portfolio for these law firms that they also own insurance companies. And you have like this serious conflict of interest, this data sharing, who's rooting for who. Um, yeah, we'll see, man. But I hear the chatter all day. I
Yep.
mean,
Next 5, 10, 15, 20 years are definitely going to be very interesting for this industry. I
and you got
definitely
to be
think there will
efficient.
be some consolidation.
And you got to be efficient, leverage technology. If you're not learning this stuff now, I mean, it's foolish not to at least be curious and learn about it.
Yep.
Man, it can make you more efficient, especially if you're, per hour or not per hour, but like on contingency like I am. We've always been pride ourselves on being efficient. And those per hour lawyers, man, you could leverage this stuff and charge flat fee retainers and do things 10 times as fast and have acquire higher quality of life. But I hope that changes because there's so many lawyers that overcharge so much because they're just you're paying for their bad overhead choices, right? And it's a shame. It's like how many times have you got to like you hired a lawyer and they send you a bill for like $2,500 and there's like three emails. And it's like, wait, you're charging me $2,500 for three emails that I know took you 5 minutes to write. I mean, I'm not stupid. Like I'm a lawyer, but I hate that stuff, and I hope that goes away. We'll see.
In private conversations, I have heard people who have been in the industry for 5 decades, close to 5 decades, say things like 90% of lawyers do not do justice by their clients. In part, they were referring to what you just said. I don't know,
Yeah,
and they don't know if it's actually 90%, but they say a very, very high percentage
and
inefficiency.
that's why lawyers get bad street cred, right? I mean, because people feel like they're getting ripped off for that reason. So like I always felt, and this is why we do all these companies, and the lawyer that's the best at what they do should be able to represent the client that they can help the most. And it's only based on their results and how good they are, not on how much money you're paying for SEO, for PPC, for being on a billboard. It's like, oh, I need a whistleblower specialist in Missouri. Who's the best? Based on data alone, who gets the biggest results? Who's the best fit for you? It's one of these three people. That's where I think it should go. And that's where I think you could use artificial intelligence and data very, very well. And that's what I hope happens.
Actually, but today, if you look at AI, the way that it produces answers, it basically produces answers based on whoever did the best job with their SEO.
Yeah, but that's an open AI. But if you do a closed one based off of only,
Yes.
you got to get the data. You got to get
Yeah,
what the settlement amounts are, the
sure.
verdict amounts, and 90+% of ones that settle pre-litigation are never reported. So how
Yep.
are you going to grab that data, right?
And
Um,
most consumers do not think the way that you do, and that's why it will still go to the best marketers.
yep.
Just
Or
like
the referral,
McDonald's will always outsell the best burger shops.
or you'll get this is where I think lawyers that could be a brand will win because when consumers are looking for a specific individual rather than Googling personal injury lawyer, if they're just looking for me, they're going to wait for me to call them back, right?
Yep.
That's the stickiness. That's why I preach to lawyers so much is take your iPhone out, record content and put it out there, especially if it's
Yep.
stuff that you know and love, because if people see it, they start believing in you, and then you have that network effect. And now you don't have to pay for SEO. You just pay for your cell phone bill.
Hey, I run an SEO company. There is nothing wrong with paying for SEO. It is done for
Yeah.
you, and most people do not like to do it yourself marketing, which is what something that you excelled at least early on, when you
Yeah.
did grassroots marketing. I mean, this is you cannot hire a firm to do it for you.
Well,
You have
what
to
I
do it
think
yourself.
where SEO makes massive sense is if you do have that brand that people are looking for you, then you could be more like easier to find,
Amplified
right?
for
It's
sure.
like,
Yeah.
Ben Crump. Everybody knows Ben Crump because of SEO, right? Because he was a great lawyer. People knew who he was, and all of a sudden he was everywhere. He's probably the first. You search PI lawyer Tampa Bay, he'll probably show up in the first three, right? Even though he's probably never been there nor done PI. Yeah, right. He'll be there. So that's like the whole point of how you can bolster that with SEO. But I think you have to take that jump first of being good at your craft, starting to build your brand, and then if you start investing that money to SEO, that's how you crush.
Yeah. Full disclosure. So Bancrom's website does not rank all that well. Most law firms, even large law firms, do not rank well across the markets. You have to be Today, Google is hyper-focused when it comes to service providers, law firms being service providers. If you do not have an office that's optimized for search in that locale, you're unlikely to show up in search results. So it's all based on your physical location, physical location, physical location.
Um,
So, but Ben Crumb, being a great marketer and having had that visibility for a while, he did exceptionally well, obviously. So brand marketing, something that you obviously talk about a lot, is just has incredible value, which is something that is so difficult for most small law firm owners to grasp because they're just so busy doing law.
well, but you have to carve out that time. Like
Yeah.
if you're a law firm owner, 50% of your time has to be spent marketing to get more business. Or I've always felt that way, and that's after hour stuff. I used to go just comment on people's like on Yelp stuff or Avo or like being anywhere I could or using social media, commenting on people's pages or being in their DMs. Like that stuff you could do the hour while you're waiting to go to bed, right? It's not during the time the phones are ringing, you're practicing being a lawyer, but that's still that law firm owner 50% of your time hat on. Um, and that's how you what I always talk about is creating like evergreen content. You do with your iPhone. If we do this podcast right now, you can cut this up into shorts and put it everywhere, right?
Oh,
And then more eyeballs on it.
yep.
So look, this is free,
Yep.
man. I mean, we're on Riverside. Like it's not
Yep.
like we're spending all this money to do that. That's why I do so much podcasts and all these other things because it's so low cost to blow people's mind how easy it is to get your content in front of the right people.
100%. So to start wrapping this up, imagine that you're preaching to newly minted lawyers just past their bar exams. The future holds a lot of uncertainty. But if you were one of them, or if you were preaching to a room of newly minted attorneys, what would be your advice over the next 10 years how to build up solid businesses? Not law firms, but solid businesses that they can choose to sell to private equity or they can choose to buy other law firms. It just has to be solid. Let's say low eight figures at least in revenue. $10 million is the target. What would you tell them to do?
Get in the right mentorship circles first. I mean, there's always somebody there that's done it before that you can lean on and ask advice of. Know what your plan is when you go into it. If you're planning an exit or you want to sell, build it for that purpose. Have the infrastructure to do it, have a consultant to be able to set it up that right way, and then concentrate on you. And I tell a lot of people I mentor is take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, put on the right all the stuff that you want to do, you love to do, and on the left all the stuff you don't want to do, that you hate to do, that you're not good at, and outsource all that stuff on the left. Concentrate in your stuff on the things on the right because you will always be happy if you're driven in that. Don't be afraid to outsource. For lawyers that are working on cases, don't be afraid to refer out or co-counsel on those other things you're not good at yet, or not your practice area or state. You can still monetize it if you do it the right way. Um, but yeah, I think that's a lot of it. I tell them invest in systems, learn technology. I think the young generation, I'm talking to Loyola Law School tomorrow, and I'm going to tell them, look, associates are beating down the door to work at my firm. If you came to me and said, I'm using these 5 AI products, I know how to use them very well, and I could leverage the work of an associate. And by the way, I know how to try to get business to bring business into the firm. Here's my plan. I wouldn't need to know anything of your background other than that. I said, you know what? You're in. They have a very unique opportunity to do that, and make yourself really, you could start your own firm with those tools. You could start your own company with those tools. So,
Yeah. Interestingly, about 3 years ago or so, I interviewed a gentleman on this podcast. This was at the very early days of AI. And he said there's a lot of fear amongst lawyers that AI is going to replace us. But he said that's not how I see it. I see one attorney who knows how to use AI very well will replace five attorneys who do not.
correct.
And that's just it. Another very common thing that I hear from very successful law firm owners is that the number one thing that you got to do is get a mentor. Somebody who just got out of law school, not making a lot of money. What's the play here? Like, I can't afford a mentor. What do I do?
People do for free. This is what makes me get so angry is like, you'd be shocked how many people give you their time for free. People DM me all the time and they always surprised, like, well, here's my cell, give me a call. Like I have time right now. I mean, I have people stop me all the time at conferences or like randomly at the airport and they thank me for like starting their career. And I don't even remember the conversation, but I picked up the phone, and now that's what we create with Justice HQ, is to be able to give that mentorship on a massive scale. So it's like you can have the best business owners, the best trial lawyers, the best medical malpractice lawyers, like have their own following and have direct access to them so that they can help mentor you with whether chat platforms or monthly sessions or whatever it may be. But I think it's super important to be in those types of things. They call them quote unquote coaching programs. A lot of them are very expensive for what you get back, and a lot of them are free or close to free
Yeah,
that are
that's
good.
amazing. Amazing. By the way, as you're watching this, listening to this, reading this, whether you're brand new to this profession or you've owned your law firm for the last 30 years, if you are not thrilled with the results, go get a mentor. It's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late. Bob, a lot of wisdom here. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much for sharing so freely. Congratulations on your massive successes, multiple successes. Truly remarkable.
Thanks, brother. Not done yet. Want to
Oh.
change the legal profession. That's kind of the goal here.
Aspirational goals. Aspirational. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, anybody, I mean, the easiest way, reach out to me at Planet Fun Bob on Instagram, hit my DMs. I check those and I do get back to people. So that's the easiest way to do it. Emails ain't
Instantly.
going to work so well anymore, but yeah,
That's
that.
right. Yeah. Planet Fun Bob. There you go. Thanks again, Bob.
Thanks, Sasha.